So we want to forecast or to fit a value, for example, the next time, which is t plus 1. Okay? Exponential smoothing tells us that we're going to use the observed values so far. So from the present till the beginning of time. And we just weight them by alpha, alpha times 1 minus alpha, and so on and so forth. So that is basically the way. So let us say, sir, okay, suppose that we are already in time 1 million. So ang gagamitin namin, ang gagamitin namin na value is yung from 1 to 999,999. The answer is yes, because that is what exponential is about. But there is a way na hindi na tayo kailangan pang mag-deal ng mga super far na value. And how to do that? That's the question. Yes? So the answer is actually by analyzing this form. So paano siya mangyayari? Okay. Okay. Yeah, ito na-discuss na natin yan, yung kanina, ay yung last time na habang papalaki yung ating alpha, ang mangyayari is mas mabilis mag-decay ang weight. Kung close naman, well, it's not close, but it's not close to 1, is hindi masyadong mabilis ang pag-decay ng weight. Okay. So, how do we do this? So, how do we do this? How do we do this? So, we have, so look, let's study this equation, okay? So the equation just tells us that if we want to forecast a time t plus 1, we have here t plus 1, right, is equal to alpha y sub t. So t here refers to the latest observation. Okay? And then we have plus 1 minus y caret t given t minus 1. So ano pala ang gagamitin? So notice that when there is a caret symbol, it actually means the forecasted value. Okay? Pag walang caret, it means it's the observed value. So itong equation na ito just tells us all we need to do, or all we need to deal with, is the current observation and the forecasted value now. The forecasted value currently. So unlike dito sa equation na to, that's actually using the observations, every observations, hindi na yan dito. Ang gagamitin lang pala natin is yung forecasted value now, the current forecasted value, and the current observation. So that's why I say here that in the book, a forecast value here refers to a value that has no corresponding observed value. Always remember that. And that is actually always denoted by caret symbol. Whereas if we say that if it is a fitted value, it means that it has an observed value and the forecasted. If you have a forecasted value and there is an observed value, that forecasted value now becomes what we call a fitted value. Magiging forecast value lang talaga siya kung wala pa yung na-observe, wala pa yung observed value. Kasi nga, hindi natin pwede matawag na forecast kasi nandun, bakit pa tayo magpo-forecast kung nandiyan na pala yung value? So, ang tawag natin doon is fitted value na siya. But it's actually the forecast value now given the previous observations. Yeah? Klaro ba yun? Okay. So, anong gagawin? So, it must start somewhere because we are now dealing with forecasted value. So, it must start somewhere. So, if we are going to roll back in time, so let us say meron tayong time machine. No? It will roll back in time. Ang mangyari pala dyan is meron tayong first fitted value, LO, usually it's given. Or there are many ways to determine that. And then use that and the current observation to predict the predict the forecasted. Now, once we have the forecasted at meron na yung observe, we just use this to predict the forecasted at time 3. And then once meron na tayong time 3, we can then forecast the value at time 4 by using this. Tama? So nakita niyo mga observe, nandito pala siya. So once we have this, we don't really need to go back because we already have this forecasted. It's the same as rolling back in time, but we just retain this until we get the forecast at time t plus 1. So nakita niyo yung pag-ano, para kumbaga iterate. So forecast t2, once there is the t2 value, which is y2, use that and weight it this way, weight it this way. Paano natin malaman na ito pala siya ay pareha lang dito? Pareha lang siya dito. Tingnan natin. And this one becomes here, y. Okay, ganito siya. Okay. Itong value na to, i-substitute mo dyan. Dito. Tama? Itong value na dito naman, ito naman, i-substitute mo na naman dito. Tapos ito i-substitute mo. Okay. Siguro mas maganda kung ipakita natin to a compute talaga natin. Okay, I will share you the whiteboard screen. Okay. Klaro ba ang whiteboard? Klaro ba? Okay. So meron tayong y forecasted. Okay? Yan yung pinakauna. Ha? The LO is actually the forecast at time 1. Tinawag lang siya na LO. Okay? This is actually, we can just say that this is equal to kanyan. Yeah? Good. So, kung titingnan natin itong Y4, bakit A yan? Dapat alpha. Pero you know what I mean. Okay? Y3 plus Y minus alpha given to. Tama? Okay, but we know this. What is this? Di ba given lang siya by... So always remember that. Ika po yan, magsulat ko yan. Wala stylus. Sige itong kamot. My hands is painful. Ito actually, ito siya. Bakit naman nag-square na naman? Ito actually, LO yan, L1 yan siya. Kung L0, L1. So kung isa-substitute pala natin yan siya mga girls and boys. Substitute yan. Times. Ano mangyari? Tama? Distribute lang. And then plus ito can be written as tama? Distribute lang. Ito sa sitsita na naman natin. Ay, ang baba pala niyan, sir. Yes, talaga mahaba yan. Huwag na kayo magreklamo. Hindi naman, hindi man tayo magaganda dito. So, kahit hindi tayo maganda, pero matalino naman. So, walang problema. Okay. And now, this is just what? Eh, erase natin yan. And this is 1 plus a certain estimate. So usually ito yung ginagamit kasi yung ano example kasi natin kanina infinity yon, okay? Since hindi naman talaga ito ma-infinity kasi nga we end up somewhere, this value will actually compensate para itong weights na yan will be 1. Okay? That is just actually just that value. Okay? So nakita niyo itong form na yan, nakita niyo na, no? Ay, paano ba mag-change yung font? So nakita niyo itong form na to. Yeah? Alpha times 1 minus alpha plus alpha minus 1 minus alpha y. Apinday niyo siya dapat kay 1, 1. Yes? So that would be our recursion. Okay, so nato yung question. Okay, okay. So balik ka sa ito. So it becomes like this. Okay? 1, 3. So 4, 3 becomes like this. Itong ganiha, itong gisolve. Correct? Ganiha, gisolve na to sa remember, ay, mali. This is actually 2. Remember, this is alpha y1 plus, tama, ito kanina.
Yeah.
Yung sinolve natin. Okay. Yes. So yan siya. Kaya siya naging itong value na mali. Dapat pala may. Okay? So y3, ito, alam na natin yan. So ito, pag-distribute na lang, dapat pala naka-close yan. Kasi ito yung sinasubstitutan. So itong value na to, ito yun siya. So if we distribute y minus square, so mayroon dito, so magiging 3 yung kanyang exponent. Okay? Yes. And so simple. So therefore, if we are going to continue this until time t1, this value will just be approximately 0. So the more data that we have, the more we don't need this value. Okay? So the final formula is very simple. It's just y to forecast at time 1, you just need to use this. Alpha 1 minus alpha raised to j, y t minus j, j starting to 0. So it means that you have to use the previous and until the first data. Okay? And then this is now our estimate. And if we use this formula, there's actually no need to use this because you just need to get the latest forecast and the observed value. And you don't need to sum it to square to exponentiate it. Okay? Because all you need is alpha and 1 minus alpha. Okay? Okay, but there's also an alternative form, which is what we call the component form. The same lang siya, kaya lang, meron kasi sa math kasi, meron siyang form na mas madaling maintindihan. No? Kung nakaganyan siya na form, mas madali nating may dissect yung mga properties niya kung in that form siya nakalagay. Okay? So, as you notice, if you study this is basically just telling you, use the observed value and use this. Okay? Tama? Alpha, observed value plus, and then a certain something. Yan sasabi dito, certain something. Okay, so what is this? We can basically say that this is just the LT, which is what we call the level component, is just the same as LT equals this one. So ano ang kanyang property? So dyan pala makikita na natin kung ano yung saan siya pwede ma-apply. Okay? So unang-una, itong exponential, simple exponential smoothing, hindi pala natin pwede ito ma-apply, hindi natin siya hindi siya suitable if we have what we call other characteristic of the component of a time series. Kasi nga, it's just predicting this. Wala nang iba. Tama? So ano yung mga other components na na-discuss na natin? Yes, question siya. Yeah? Ano yung mga other components na na-discuss na natin, Lloyd? Pwede mo i-chat. Time series component. Lloyd? Wala. Si ano muna, si Ribas. Ito si Ribas, na-miss ko na ang boses ni Ribas. Kay Ribas. Wala.
Sir?
Oh, ikaw ba yan?
Yes po. Riva speaking.
Ribas, so ano pa yung mga ibang component na alam mo sa isang time series?
Itong trend, sir. Seasonal.
Correct. Seasonality, trend, and cycle. Right? Yes,
Yes.
very good. Thank you. So ito palang ano na to, simple forecasting method natin. Hindi pala siya mag-apply talaga kung ang ating time series ay meron siyang seasonality, meron siyang trend kasi nga ang kanya lang ano is level component lang. So level component meaning kung ano lang yung value niya. Like for example, how far is it from zero? That's what this simple exponential does. Kung gaano ba siya kalayo sa zero. Kaya siya tinawag na level. So walang trend, walang cycle, walang seasonality. Okay? Good. Okay. So remember that because itong equation na to, ito yung ating gagalawin mamaya pag meron na tayong pag ma-introduce na tayo ng trend, ng seasonality sa ating time series. Okay? Okay. So how do we forecast? It's very simple. Just use this. Okay? And then, if you want to forecast just compute the forecast and that would be our forecast value. So, usually kasi merong tinatawag tayong, hindi lang tayo mag-forecast ng one value. We usually want to forecast several values far into the future. Let us say, okay, can you give me a forecast for the next, like, ano ang maging weather natin for the next 3 days? So, hindi lang siya tomorrow lang ang question. No? Ang tawag natin dyan sa forecast na yan ay flat forecast. Because for any age, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 is the same lang siya sa T1. Okay? So kung mag-forecast ng value next tomorrow, it will be the same forecasted value the day after tomorrow and the day after the day after the day and the day, something like that. The same lang. Walang mabago. Kaya yan yung idea ng flat forecasts. Okay?